The brag trap is what women do quite unconsciously to try to get you to brag to them. They will ask you questions such as, what kind of car do you drive? How much money do you make? Are you successful? Even if you drive a Mercedes, the worst thing you can do is tell her, oh, I drive a Mercedes. Because even just by saying that, it's like you're trying to sell yourself to her. It looks try hard. Almost like a guy who walks into a nightclub with a super nice Rolex watch. It's for insecure guys. And an insecure guy is gonna roll in with that Rolex and try to show it to her by scratching his chin in a certain way where the Rolex is glimmering in the lights. Try hard, gentlemen.
The Unapologetic Man Podcast.
But today, gentlemen, we are gonna talk about how girls are gonna bait you to make you look insecure. They are going to purposely throw out lures. And if you take these lures, which are so easy to take, in which so many of you guys have taken, they are going to label you as insecure and lose all attraction for you. Guys who are high value, guys who pull women, do not do this single thing. And that thing is bragging or trying to sell yourself to a woman. The second you try to sell yourself to a woman or prove yourself to her, she is going to lose all and any respect for you. There's this guy who goes to the nightclubs that I go to in Denver very often, and I see him out all the time. Never talk to him because, frankly, I'm not interested. But here's what he does, boys, and tell me if you think this is high or low value. He wears a hat that says Ferrari on it, thus communicating that he owns a Ferrari. Do you think that's high or low value? You're right. You're a smart motherfucker. It is low value because it shows one thing and one thing only. He doesn't feel like he's enough without his car proving his value. And women sense this intuitively. If he goes into a nightclub trying to show off his Ferrari, dangling the Ferrari keys, or another example, telling her how rich he is or how successful he is, or how he's a lawyer, a doctor, a dentist, whatever profession you guys might have that you want to brag about, if he goes in there trying to prove his worth to a woman, it essentially communicates that he doesn't feel like he's enough. A guy who feels like he's enough doesn't have to brag. Think about the guy who's really good at fighting. Do you think a professional UFC fighter has to go around bowing up on other guys, saying how tough he is and getting angry and trying to get in fights all the time? Maybe he did that in his younger years, but when he became a proficient fighter, the first thing he's going to do is try to avoid a fight. The last thing he's going to do is talk about how he's a professional fighter, of course, unless he's insecure. But he walks around confidently, not needing to prove anything to anybody, and certainly not needing to fight anybody to prove his worth, because he's competent. From competence comes confidence, and women understand this intuitively. The guy who has a lot of money, really has a lot of money, does he go around flashing his money? Some do, because they're still insecure about their status financially, but those who are truly secure, I'm talking about the billionaires or the multimillionaires who have really worked on their inner psychology, they don't even talk about it. In fact, it's been proven that the vast majority of multimillionaires drive Toyotas and Nissans because they're conservative and they're saving for their future and they know that a car is a liability, not an asset. So they put their money into assets and they don't fucking talk about it. The person who's truly competent does not need to brag or prove it. And women understand this intuitively. So the second you go in trying to prove how great you are by talking about the things you do, the money that you make, the accomplishments you've had, the lower value you look. So the next time you're talking to a girl, the last thing you want to do, brother, is try to sell yourself to her and prove to her how high value you are by bragging about what you do. Now we're going to go into the brag trap. The brag trap is what women do quite unconsciously to try to get you to brag to them. They will ask you questions such as, what kind of car do you drive? How much money do you make? Are you successful? Why should I date a guy like you? Now, if you buy into it, you are doing what? You're buying into her frame. She put out a question, and as I've been talking about in recent months, you have acquiesced to her frame, thus bought into it, thus allowing her to control the frame. I said that you don't have to engage with anything that a woman puts out there. You could either ignore it or change the topic or reframe it, which I'm going to tell you about today. So she says, what kind of car do you drive? Even if you drive a Mercedes, the worst thing you can do is tell her, oh, I drive a Mercedes. Because even just by saying that, it's like you're trying to sell yourself to her. Even though you're really not trying to sell yourself to her, you're just stating a fact, it looks try hard. Almost like a guy who walks into a nightclub with a super nice Rolex watch where he was told by the saleswoman, when you can't bring your yacht into the nightclub, this is the yacht you wear on your wrist. It's for insecure guys. And an insecure guy is going to roll in with that Rolex and like try to show it to her by like scratching his chin in a certain way where the Rolex is glimmering in the lights. Try hard, gentlemen. What's up, brother? Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. To watch the full podcast episode, click here. And before you go, if you're feeling extra generous, please like, comment, subscribe. It really helps me in the algorithm. I'd sincerely appreciate it. Unapologetic Army.